Thank you very much. So I would like to talk about last French presidential election. So it's very fresh. We have a new president only for 3 days. So of course, as it's known, the things I'm going to present you are a work in progress. I would like to present you a few studies that we produced in a team in CELIPOF, in Sciences Po, with Brigitte Leroux, which is present, and Flora Chanville, which is a young statistician, very efficient. First of all, we have to have a look to the results of the first round of the presidential election. I'm sorry for the presentation. It's French and English together, linked together. I didn't have enough time to translate everything, and especially some of the graphs. The candidates are not all very known, so I will try to explain you from where they come. First of all, the participation has been very high. In France, vote is not obligatory. So a turnout so low is a very high thing, very good thing for democracy. It's not the best participation we had. In 2007, participation was a little higher, but it's quite the same like in 1981, which is a symbolic date in France, when François Mitterrand has been the first socialist president elected. Maybe it was a sign. So we have 46 million people registered, and 45 million and 8,000 has really voted and put a vote in for one of the candidates. The candidates were reparted between left, center, right, extreme right, and an alien. On the left, we had François Hollande, who got 28.6% of votes at the first round. And Nicolas Sarkozy, and on the left, we have also Jean-Luc Mélenchon, who represents the left of the left, but not extreme left. It was the old Communist Party and what we call the Parti de Gauche, left party, just like Die Linke in Germany. They're not exactly the same in Italy. At the left of Jean-Luc Mélenchon, we have two Trotskyist candidates, one coming from the old Lutte Ouvrière Party, she was called Nathalie Arthaud, and the other Philippe Poutou, which is coming also from Nouveau Parti communiste, anti-capitalist, the new anti-capitalist party. This was the offer on the left side of the political space. In the center, or left center, we have Eva Joly for the Greens, ecological party. And we had François Bayrou, who incarnates the center, probably the center of a French political space. And on the right side, we had of course, Nicolas Sarkozy, president. We got 27.2%, not very far from François Hollande in the first round. And Nicolas Dupont-Aignan, which is a sovereignist, is not extreme right, but is right, Gaullist, we mean Gaullist in France. And, of course, we had National Front, the national candidate, Marine Le Pen, which symbolized in France both refuse of the classical party system. The second round, last Sunday, gave us François Hollande elected with more than 16 million voters, 18 million voters, and he beat Nicolas Sarkozy, but not with a very high difference. The scores were quite tight. But he succeeded, and he is now the second French socialist president in the Fifth Republic. Something linked to the institutions in France. It's not, we are managed not by a presidential regime, but a mixture between presidential and parliamentary. The president, of course, leads the politics, but the prime minister leads the government, and the prime minister depends on parliament, on deputies in the National Assembly. And the next legislative elections will take place in the 10th and 17th of June. So, we are exactly on the middle of the bridge. Today, the custom is to say that parliamentary elections, well, they are so close, and presidential elections always give majority to the new president. This year there is an ambiguity. We don't exactly know if it will happen or not, because of the power, the very high power of National Front and Line Le Pen. We are trying to understand what's happening. So, what I'm going to try to show you with geometric data analysis today is the point of view that a statistician can have with studying the survey in France from November to April. I mean, what are the most important cleavage today in France regarding to issues, what people asked to the political candidates, and what is now the ideological space. And also we are going to ask us if anything has changed between the beginning of the campaign in November and the first ballot of the election. This will be the 3 points I would like to show you with 3 different analyses. In political science, the question is very important because it's a real question that is asked for all democracies. Are we going to a bipolarization, just like in America or Great Britain or Germany? Or are we staying in a fragmented system with relaying questions and electorals? We are going to use a survey called Presidoscopy. It's a survey in 10 waves. It took place between November 2011 and April, just before the second round of the election for the 10th. We are going to use correspondence analysis, specific multi-correspondence analysis, clause of categories, of course, ellipse of concentration, etc. All classical cluster analysis, all classical methods in data analysis. Okay. The survey took place, was a survey administrated online. And it's very important to notice that now surveys online, when they are administrated with good samples, are much more efficient than telephone surveys. The fact is now sure, and you can, if people want not only proof but demonstration and data, they can go to the website of the French Society of Statistics and to look at the site called electoral data, and we have a lot of explanations about that. So, these 10 surveys have been administered to a panel of the same individuals. 6,000 people being asked every month from November to December, and every 15 days from January to April. 6,000 at the beginning. To go out, to be jumped from a panel, they had to miss 2 waves. We have 3,557 people who stayed always from the first to the 10th wave in the panel. First analysis, we are going to try to define what was in November the French political space. We are using special coding, biocentric coding, quite known, but we use it actually. So, we have 5,377 individuals who give all risk answers with no answers. 11 questions, 3 with multiple choice, at most 3 of them, and 8 with only 1 choice. So there was a problem of homogeneity between them. So for the multiple response questions, we use the barycentric coding on 3 questions. And 3 others, we use disjunctive coding as usual. And we applied correspondence analysis. We use the book for standard time.
He's there.
These are the questions that we have used. Sorry for the translation, it's been very quickly. First of all, we asked people what are the motivations of candidates' choice. So, we have proposal IDs, personality, because the parties they support the candidate, rejection of the other candidate, capacity to face the economical crisis, chance to win the presidential election, capacity to really change things in France, or dissatisfaction. In November, distrust in politics is really, really high. One of the highest in the world. We had surveys about how people trust others, political personalities, parties, national organization, international relation, and distrust was and is always very, very high in France. In fact, even higher than in Iraq and Afghanistan. It's incredible. But it was the situation in France in November. We have questions about issues. What are the main problems for French people? What do they think about the main problem for France in the future? Of course, in first they say economic and financial crisis, which is the same for all Western countries in Europe now. Unemployment, education system, immigration, which starts to be a very hard issue in most of our countries. Taxes, social inequalities, insecurity, environment, etc. I'll let you read with the results. Other question used? What do you think we need for a better world? Solidarity, ecology, morality, individual responsibility, security, and you see, at first, solidarity, morality, work for everybody, purchasing power, very, very important for people, purchasing power, and social inequality also. Do you think France must stay in Europe? It's a good thing or a bad thing for France to be in Europe? Good thing, 48%. Bad thing, only 19%. But never good or bad, 32%. It's quite high. It's higher than before. And what do you think about globalization? France must open more, protect more, never open or protect, in fact. protect more, 47%. There is a real high demand of protection. Question of trust, interest left, right, no left, no right. More trust and freedom, more control and regulation for state. Do you think state might control companies? What do you think about market society, in fact? Question about the social justice. Is it necessary to take in the rich to give more to the poor? In fact, the French people agree a lot. 45 plus 27. It's a quite revolutionary situation in November. Now, we do not feel any more as before. It's a closed question about immigrants, about what do you feel in that society. And the result was, in fact, people agree that they don't feel in France like before. You see the way we've coded these questions using very simple coding. For example, if you have 3 questions with 2 answers for 2 answers for the first one, 3 answers for the first one, we coded 1, 2 only for the second one, we coded 1.5, and 1 only for the third, we coded 3. We coded 3. The way for each question is the same, and this is very simple, usual coding. Very useful to manage correspondence analysis and to have questions all on the same level. This is sorry, sometimes that's French. This is I am value histogram. 2 principal axes are to interpret. So this is the results for the first axis. This one shows one of the most important cleavage now to oppose people who are really dissatisfaction with power, but in the same time against immigration. We need security, we need authority. They say they trust no left, no right. They want to go out from the European Union. Very closed people. And faced to that population, we have people that want more social justice, more equality. They don't think there are too many immigrants in France. They feel good in the country. They wanted to vote to their candidate because the candidate is supported by the party they like. They want solidarity in the future. They want ecology. They want education, more education. They think that France must be more open, and they trust in left. So the first axis opposed, no left, no right, dissatisfied, 2 left people. The second axis is easier, is more classical. It's a classical economical axis, opposing people who agree with market economy. In fact, they trust. They trust the state. They want. They think that the candidate must at first manage the economical crisis. They want him to be good for public deficit. But in the same time, they want more authority. They don't think we have to take more to the rich to give to the poor. They are really classical, liberal, economically liberal individuals. Faced to them, we have people unsatisfied with the society, who want more directed economy. They want the state more control more the companies. They need work. They trust left. And so this is the classical left-right axis. In fact, this is the ellipses of concentration of the electorates. And I draw not all the candidates, but the main of them. We have opposition on the first X between the Marine Le Pen ellipse, which is quite well represented, opposite to the ellipses and electorates of François Hollande and Jean-Luc Mélenchon, which they are very, very linked, very close one to the other. So something like quite semantic proximity between these two electorates. Face to them, we have the electorate of Nicolas Sarkozy. And this is very important because now we can have at a look the real situation in France for quite a long time, but we have now, which is the three-partition of the French political space. Three-partition. First part, François Hollande and the left, Marine Le Pen, National Front, and Nicolas Sarkozy, classical UMP, which is the Conservative Party in France. And between, we have the center and the ecologists, the Greens. We did a classification, but I don't want to spend too much time because it's quite the same. We had 6 main classes, and if we represent the classes into the political space, of course, we find exactly the same thing. Of course, it will be interesting in the future because it's work in progress to try to characterize these clusters, these classes, with other questions to understand values, party identification, image of the candidate, etc. Secondly, we are using another analysis, but now just before the first round of the election. We were in November, campaign has done its work. We are now in April, in a week before the first round of the election. We are at the 9th wave of the political scope. And we are trying in this analysis to understand what was just before the 22nd of April, what was the ideological space of this French electorate. We use words. We ask words, we have a question, we ask words, and ask to people to stimulation of these words. We use specific MCA to analyze this space. Specific because there were some very few answers, and we put it as passive using specific MCA, the method we have developed with everyone and with Zero at the early 2000s. These are the words we use. And it's interesting to see first, to have a look to the frequencies of the results. The words we use are profit, European Union, liberalism, protectionism, globalization, Islam, USA, socialism, immigrants, right, left, center, nationalization, privatization, market, euro, and capitalism. Most of them are words like really high cleavage between people. Economical cleavage, value cleavage about immigrants, for example, or political cleavage. And we try to understand what are cleavage and what can we find with all that words and to understand how they manage to learn. These are the high-end values we found. So, first axis separated quite classically people who, it's a really economical axis. This is important because in a few years before, from the mid-90s, I mean, to 2010, the main cleavage was the cleavage separating closed people from open people. And now we are in economical crisis, and the main cleavage comes back to be a economical social cleavage. It separates people who want more privatization, liberalism, profit, market economy. I think the best system is in the USA. They want globalization. They say yes to euro. They trust the right. They say the right is positive. They distrust socialism and left, of course. In front of them, we have people who say market is negative, liberalism is negative, profit is negative, privatization is negative. And they say socialism is positive, left is positive. This something is what we found at the second round of the presidential election. The second axe separates people who distrust Europe, distrust socialism and left, and who are also distrusting they wanted more. They want to say immigrants is bad thing for France. They say immigration is a bad word. They say no, it's no good for France. And they trust the right, and especially the extreme right. We will see better later. Opposite to them, we have people who trust who think immigrants and Islam are positive words. They say socialism and left are positive words. They also say globalization and euro is good things, they are positive. So this is a more open left opposite to a right quite closed. So in one plane, we have the two main cleavages linked together. Left, right on economical words. Left, extreme right on closed, open society. Only with words. If we look at the categories of the electorates projected in the categories of cloud, of course, not invisible clouds, you can see we have, of course, all the left quite linked. Mr. Poutou, Mélenchon, Hollande first and second round. In green, it's a second round. And in the opposite, we have Nicolas Sarkozy and higher Jean-Marie Le Pen. Free partition. These are the electoral concentration in the clouds of individuals. And we can see that effectively the electorate from Nicolas Sarkozy and Jean-Marie Le Pen were quite linked. Electorate from Jean-Luc Mélenchon and François Hollande were quite linked. and electorate from François Bayrou in the center are everywhere. Now, very, very fast, because I just have 5 minutes, I want to show you what did the campaign to the vote intentions. Vote intentions is not an attitude, it's not real behavior. It's just like the word say, an intention. Maybe I want to vote for him, for her, nothing more. But it's interesting to look at the evolution of and the tenets of the vote intentions during the campaign. In our panel, for our 3,000 people staying in the panel, this was the evolution of the vote intentions. Not weighted. That's not intentions that we look in the papers. That's not established. If we want to establish a real vote from this table, we have to wait, to put filters, etc. But for data analysis, it's better to use unweighted variable. This is the evolution. And look at the evolution used in MCA analysis. These are binary, and these are the evolution in time between November and April. First of all, we can look at there is not at all flux from the right to the left. Nothing. All vote intentions for Mr. Sarkozy are very linked, for Marine Le Pen are very linked, but maybe for the left, from the extreme left to François Hollande or for Bacheli, there are transitioning flux. During the time, we can notice what was the main events and how these events had, what they produced on the campaign. And it's colored, you can see the differences between the time. In a clause of individuals, it's very interesting because now we can see the flux. Yeah, really. Three partitions. Left, all the candidates from the left. Candidate Sarkozy and candidate Le Pen in opposition. First axis oppose left to Hollande Sarkozy, and second axis oppose Sarkozy to Le Pen. So, Le Pen was really separation, big separation between the classical electorates in France. And she separates, and she really separates the right in France. She's really important for the future, for next legislature. Look at next. I will try to do very fast. In a pen 2-3, for example, we have here the extreme left opposite to the classical left, and the axis 3, opposition between moderated left, right and extreme right, for real position of the French political space. And in the same time, we can see that it's difficult to understand where the center from Mr. Bayrou electorate is positioned. I will show you very quickly N13 with the greens separated from the rest. And 1-4, well, Mr. Bayrou from the center, and you see the flux, the differences between and how they come from November to April to the left candidates or to the right candidates. In the same part, not so many to the right but to the left. And to finish, we want to see that the left also can be separated between left of the left by Mélenchon and right of the left, maybe the Greens ecologically. Sorry for this presentation, it was quite long, but at the same time work in progress, and I try to do better and to write it later.
Thank you very much for the nice presentation and the representation of the political space of France after the presidential election. So, do you have comments or yes, please?
Can we imagine that about two point of views that were expressed during the campaign? I mean, first, that many people will do what we call in France an utilitarian vote. I mean, due to the seismic election in 2002, people thought that even if they would like to vote to, for instance, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, they will vote nevertheless for François Hollande in a utilitarian point of view. So my question is about the two ellipses of concentrations regarding Jean-Luc Mélenchon and François Hollande, which are more or less superposed. And on the other side, we saw that the ellipses of Marine Le Pen and of Nicolas Sarkozy are not so recovering, and may we interpret that as many people said, Sarkozy tried to do something like Marine Le Pen, but he did not succeed in. What do you think about that?
Vote in the left and flips between Mélenchon and Hollande is the whole thing. But they are not really the same electorates. The same social categories, in fact. During the campaign, Jean-Luc Mélenchon had made a very dynamic campaign with meetings with a lot of people and very, very attractive for the leftist population in France. But when we hear in the same time that we had that quantitative data, we had also qualitative data. People that we asked longer and half an hour or an hour. And they said us, people voting for Mélenchon they said they will vote for Mélenchon during the campaign. They said, if we suspect there is a risk for the left candidates not to be present at the second round, we will not vote for Mélenchon. In fact, it's a vote it's a vote intention to prevent, to say, Mr. Hollande, take care, we are there, and we are looking very carefully at what we are going to do. That's the reason why between the campaign, polls showed Jean-Luc Mélenchon was very, very high, 14, 15, even 16% of people said in March that they will vote for Mélenchon, but when we heard them in qualitative interviews, they said, no, that's not true. In utility vote, what we call the vote of precaution was very present, is very present in France. And socially, socially, they are not really the same people, voting for Hollande and voting for Mélenchon. It's another and electorates now from Sarkozy Le Pen, they are also very different. The electorate from Marine Le Pen is much more popular, much more. They come geographically from other places than the electorate from Mr. Sarkozy. They share together some values, but values about the idea of France, not about economy, not at all. Marine Le Pen has ideas, economical ideas, much nearer from the left than from the right conservative classical bloc.
Thank you.
The distances somehow the best one that we can look between the well-represented points, even if they are shorter than in the total space. I was interested in the position of François Bayrou, who was in the center, and it appears his ellipsis actually was the central one. And for the second tour of the elections, the problem was whether people who voted for him were to vote to the right or to the left. And so I saw his position in the first waves, and he was nearer to Sarkozy. As I said, there's information on the first electoral plane. Anyway, he was nearer to Sarkozy. And the last slides he showed, Bayrou was definitely shifted to the left and more near to François Hollande. So, is it possible from this mapping, was it possible to predict that some of these, that those who would have voted in the second tour, not abstention, from François Bayrou, would have voted for Hollande rather than Sarkozy? Because the problem of GDA is that, of course, there's no quantification. We don't have no percentages. And we saw the time series that were very interesting. But on the factorial plane, something should have, you have to think of something to add. Anyway, my question about the triangle and from the distances from François Bayrou to François Hollande and Nicolas Sarkozy, please can you answer to this question?
In fact, in that studies, based on political space, ideological space, or evolution of vote intentions, the electorate of François Bayrou is always in the center, always between François Hollande and Nicolas Sarkozy. Always very far from Marine Le Pen. But the distances are, in reality, in the economical axe, which is pregnant today. This electorate is nearer from Nicolas Sarkozy. Nearer from Nicolas Sarkozy. Yes. And what we have seen, what we have noticed last Sunday, is 2/3 of the electorate of Mr. Bayrou from the first ballot has voted for Mr. Sarkozy. 2/3, 67%. Not in surveys, but in ecological data, analyzing what really happened in the section of the votes. So, this is the answer.
It's a polarization, but actually more on disaggregation. So, would you comment on this? Is this the right interpretation of these results?
No, I think we are not going to polarization. Tripartition is now very main thing in the French political space, very main. Fragmentation in the left, we have seen in the last graphic, fragmentation between electorate on the left, the classical social democrat left was going to have power now, to have responsibilities. And the Green Party, maybe they are for the future, could be not a sign of polarization. They have to govern together, and it's not so easy in the actual situation of Europe. And depolarization, I think, is not for today in France. Not at all.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's thank again the speaker.